Traveling is a very tiring experience, so imagine landing in a new city and this is what the transportation looks like. Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, am I right? The caption of this post clearly expresses this frustration by saying, "There's gotta be a better way to do this." You're right. If only we had a giant car that could move hundreds of people at a time and stopped at the most important destinations. One can only dream of such powerful technology. Okay, but seriously, airports are one of those places that have no reason not to have amazing public transit. It's a place that employs thousands of workers in one centralized location. A place that really needs to reduce its carbon emissions. And it's the gateway to your city for millions of travelers who probably don't have a car with them. I've been to many airports with great transit connections, so today we're gonna talk about some of them and what we can learn so that hopefully other airports can have great airport transit as well. So I live in Toronto, which means I first have to talk about Toronto Pearson Airport. Pearson is connected by the Union Pearson Express, or UP Express for short. It's an airport express train that brings you all the way to Union Station in downtown Toronto in just 25 minutes. It's also the only transit service in Toronto to have platform screen doors. The price of a one-way fare is about $9 Canadian and there are group discounts, so overall this train is a lot cheaper and faster than taking a taxi into the city. Aside from the UP Express, Pearson is also served by many local and regional bus routes, including the Airport Express bus, which connects the airport to Kipling subway station. There's also a people mover that connects Terminal 1 and Terminal 3 together. So overall, Pearson Airport has some decent airport connections, but considering how big Toronto is, there's a lot to be desired. For example, the bus experience is not that great. You have to cross a road and wait on a platform out in the open next to loud, stinky cars. Compare this to the bus terminal at Union Station, which is fully enclosed and just a lot nicer. The UP Express is also a long walk from the arrivals, which requires going up several escalators. The trains are still diesel and are really short, and it only operates every 15 minutes, which is like the bare minimum. There's also this windy section of the track near the airport where trains have to run super slowly. But hey, at least you get some nice views of the parking lots. What Pearson really needs is an integrated transit hub with a huge indoor bus terminal, a proper train station with giant platforms, and preferably a mall of some sort with a bunch of shops and restaurants that travelers can spend time at during their layovers. RM Transit has a great video where he illustrated what this could look like. A link is down below. Alright, now let's fly over to Amsterdam where things are a lot better. Amsterdam Schiphol is not just an airport, it's one of the largest intercity rail hubs in the Netherlands, with frequent train departures to almost every city in the country. In fact, a lot of people from all over the Netherlands come to Schiphol Airport, not to take a flight, but to take a train. Unlike Toronto, the Schiphol train station is literally at the center of the airport, which means that once you exit, the train station is the first thing you see. It's not something you have to go out of your way to find. When you step outside, there's a nice plaza with an outdoor bus station, some taxi stands, and the famous I Amsterdam sign, which, as you can see, is pretty popular among the Chinese aunties. The only problem is that since the buses are outdoors, it does have the same issues as Toronto where you have to cross a road and wait outside in possibly bad weather. But at least it's not as dark and gloomy. There are vehicle drop-offs for departures, but it's on the second floor and you barely even notice them when you're on the ground. I don't think airports need to have a nice outdoor space like this, but Schiphol does have a lot of hotels and offices right beside it, so it's nice how you can just go outside and walk there. Almost every other major airport has nothing but roads and parking garages at their doorstep, so I really like how Amsterdam Schiphol feels like a part of the city. Now, actually getting to central Amsterdam from the airport by train only takes 15 minutes, and the trains come so frequently that it's effectively another metro system. So Amsterdam is very easy to visit even during a short layover. There have also been plans in the past to connect the metro to the airport, which should provide some relief and more connectivity. Our next stop is Shanghai, which definitely has the busiest airport on this list. In fact, Shanghai has two major airports, Pudong and Hongqiao. Hongqiao also has a massive intercity rail station with high-speed trains serving cities all across the country. But because this is China, everything is ginormous, so getting to the train station from the airport is quite a long walk. Both airports are connected by Line 2 of the metro, with Hongqiao also served by Line 10. Both are also connected by the new Airport Link Line, which is a commuter rail line that serves as an express alternative to Line 2, reducing the travel time between the two airports by 50 minutes. These trains have modern info displays and much more comfortable seating than a metro train. Although it seems like whoever designed these information screens watched a bit too many Matrix films. What's cool is that this line uses automatic fare gates like in Japan, where they stay open and only close if you don't properly pay your fare. This helps prevent congestion at the fare gates, which is a pretty big problem in many cities. Toronto. Also, for some reason, the doors of this train make a doorbell sound when they open. The problem is that this line doesn't go anywhere near the city center, so it's only useful if you live near a station or have a connecting flight at the other airport and need to get there quickly. Right now, it only operates every 15 minutes, but hopefully that'll increase over time. Now, of course, we also have to talk about the maglev. Many people call this a weird gadget bond, and to be fair, it is, but it does operate every 20 minutes and it's super fast. So even though it is weird, it's not completely useless. The problem is that the maglev doesn't connect you to the city center, as it starts all the way out at Longyang Road Station and goes straight to the airport with no stops in between. The fare is also relatively expensive at 50 RMB, which is more than 10 times pricier than an average metro fare. So it's pretty easy to see why most people just take the metro, and the only people that do take the maglev are tourists. So overall, Shanghai does have a lot of metro connections, but they all kinda suck. The airports are really far from the city, and subways are just not very comfortable when traveling super long distances. Both the Airport Link Line and the maglev are faster, but don't take you anywhere near the city center. Shanghai would have been much better off if the Airport Link Line actually ran through the city center instead of around it, thereby connecting both airports as well as the city. Our next stop is Hong Kong, which used to have its airport within the city, known as Kai Tak Airport. But because of overcrowding and just how close it was to all the mountains and the buildings, a new airport was built all the way out here. And now Kai Tak is being redeveloped into a new residential district. So unlike Shanghai, Hong Kong's airport has a way better connection. It's called the Airport Express, a metro line that takes you all the way to central Hong Kong, with stops at Changi and Kowloon stations. Getting to the station from the airport was pretty easy, and the fare is priced at 120 Hong Kong dollars or 15 US dollars with an Octopus card. That is more on the expensive side, but the fare is based on distance, so it is cheaper if you get off before the final stop. What makes Hong Kong even better is that you can check in your bags at one of the train stations in the city, and it's sent off to the airport on the express train and loaded onto your plane. Now, because of how fast it is, I think the Airport Express could probably afford to make 1 or 2 more stops in between. For example, it could stop at Sunny Bay, where there is a connection to Disneyland, or Namcheon Station, where there is a connection with the Twin Ma Line. Last but not least, let's fly over to Singapore. Singapore Changi Airport is one of the most famous airports in the world, and that's because it's also a tourist attraction. Right in the middle is a massive shopping mall called The Jewel, and this is where you find that cool waterfall thing. In terms of transit, Changi Airport is connected by a branch of the East-West MRT line, and the station is very impressive. However, because this is just a branch line, you have to make a cross-platform transfer at Tanah Station if you want to continue towards downtown. The airport itself has a people mover that connects all the terminals together, just like Toronto, although this one's a lot nicer. So because there's no other MRT connections, I had to take a bus to my hotel, and I might be wrong here, but this was the bus terminal. Yeah, it seems like they ran out of money after building the MRT station. Now, thankfully, Singapore Changi is currently undergoing a massive expansion with a new Terminal 5. The Thomson East Coast Line and the under construction Cross Island Line will be extended to serve this new terminal. And the Thomson East Coast Line will actually be extended further to replace the current Changi Airport branch. Now, if you were in charge of a car-centric American city and wanted to bless the people with better airport transit, what can we learn from all of this? Well, first of all, Singapore shows us that airports don't have to just be an airport. It's pretty common to have big shopping malls connected to train stations, so why can't airports be the same? Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of passengers use airports every day. So we can take advantage of that by turning the airport into a destination people visit, even if they're not flying. Shanghai is also a good example of why you need to use the right tool for the job. Subways are fine if the airport is relatively close to the city, like in Singapore. But in places like Shanghai or Hong Kong, where the airport is much further away, using an airport express or a regional rail system would make the journey much better. This leads to the next point, which is that every city is different and there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Amsterdam Schiphol is very close to the city, and its location within many surrounding suburbs makes it a perfect spot for an intercity rail hub. But Hong Kong's airport is very isolated from the city, so a dedicated airport express train makes the most sense. I think Toronto is a mix of both. The airport is very far away from the city, but it's also right next to a major rail corridor. So having both an airport express and a regional transit hub would be nice. But overall, I do think airport express trains are generally the best solution for most cities. They're much more comfortable and have dedicated places to store your luggage so that it doesn't get in the way. Because airport express lines are typically cheaper and simpler than other transit projects, it's also a great way to introduce new technologies. For example, Toronto's Up Express introduced platform screen doors, which no other transit service in the city has. Obviously, there are so many other cities that I haven't covered in this video, like London, New York, and Tokyo. So if you want me to visit those airports, then smash that like button, subscribe, and check out my Patreon. I gotta go fly a plane now because I've secretly been a pilot this whole time.